Hey guys. I have no idea. I'm going to tag a couple of people here, get some folks coming in. How's everyone doing? Hope you are doing well. I cannot believe it's Tuesday already. I mean, felt like Monday all day to me. How about you? Definitely. Let's see. I got some. So here we go. You know what I hate about Facebook Lives is whenever they wait for people to come in. And I'm doing that a little bit, but not for long, because I know how busy the people are that I'm talking to. We're single. We got kids to feed, most of us, especially at my age group, or let's be honest, at my age group, and a lot of us have grandkids that we're taking care of. We have jobs, we have work, we have commitments, we've got all this stuff going on that just keeps us so busy, right? Keeps you too busy to say hi to friends, keeps you too busy to make those connections. You think about someone, you're going to call them, but you don't. Yeah, you don't want to bother, right? Bother them. I know I like it whenever I get a call from a friend. I think everybody does. I need someone to come on and at least tell me that they can hear me. Surely I can be heard. Hoping. All right, so anyway, I'm Jena, and Jena says hi. It's kind of my tagline. For those of you who know me, I was a weight loss coach for 7 years. It came at the time in my life where my boys were old enough that mama needed to get a job, needed to support things, help out with the family financial status, right? Being a weight loss coach definitely changed my life. People would come in and I'd be like, eat the sheet, eat this, don't eat that. And they'd walk in that door and I could tell immediately if they had eaten that they weren't supposed to eat because they felt guilty about it. And I could see it written all over their face. Sometimes just giving up something just like that, it just doesn't work. Changing habits, doing things differently. Yeah. Think about if you're a mom or a dad out there, because I know I'm gonna have some guys watching. How many times has how you identify yourself changed? I was 35 whenever I gave birth to triplets. Terrifying. We weren't even gonna have kids. That was the plan because, you know, the world has too many of them already. And we're overpopulated and yada, 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 and financially secure and all these things. So lo and behold, we try and we wound up with 3. We went from being married for 2 years. I mean, it's not 2 years, 9 years. Just husband and wife. And those were really fabulous years. Then, whenever the triplets were born, there was a huge shift in the relationship. Not necessarily because of them, but because of me. And possibly because of him. I don't know what was in his head, right? And that's part of the problem. I feel like the problem with most relationships isn't the things that we say to each other, it's the stuff we leave unsaid. How many times do you think that someone's talking about you because they look at you? Well, they might be talking about you. They might be saying that they really love your hair or that your shoes are on point. But you have all these negative thoughts running through your head, and so that's what you think they say. And it doesn't matter what they say after that point, because you've already decided, you've already made up your mind that all these ugly labels that you have on yourself make the huge difference. And we'll get more into that later. So, total marriage, 20 years. I was married a lot longer than I've been single. Been single for 5. Divorced. Rebounded, didn't do it pretty. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with who I was whenever I was younger. Or things that happened to me when I was younger. Whenever I was in high school, I was raped. Not saying that for pity or for anything else, because how many of you have suffered through the same thing? Felt a victim, felt this way, felt that way or another. It does affect how you think about yourself, doesn't it? And that bled over into my relationships. It bled over into my high school boyfriend. It bled over to my first college guy. And it definitely bled over into my marriage. If I would have known then what I know now, life would be a whole lot different. So real quick, if you're watching this live, let me know and give me a little hashtag live in the comments. If you're watching it on the replay, let me know that. There's this thing, I cannot tell. I can see that there's 2 little people watching. I have no idea who you are. It's not letting me know. Notifications are that way. It's been a long time since I've done a Facebook Live, especially something this lengthy. So please bear with me. I had an amazing Zoom presentation prepared, but my computer's been on the fritz for a while, but holding its own. I decided not to turn on today. A little bit of a panic. But we show up. We do what we're supposed to do. And whether we have the fancy presentation with all the pictures or we don't, it doesn't matter. As long as we show up. Being single, I see so many people. Matter of fact, I met a woman last night. She's perfectly happy single. And that's great. She dates herself. She does lots of fun things with herself. But a lot of people don't do that. There's a difference between being single so that you can heal and learn how to love yourself, and being single to avoid getting hurt again. Who's been hurt? Who's hurt others? Who's hurting right now? We all have that in common. So, being a single mom. Ooh, it's a gift. My kids get to see me as me. Not part of a unit, which they have that memory as well, but they get to see me as me. I feel like one of the most important things that we do as moms, as women, is we nurture our kids. So if we don't like where we're at in life, if we don't feel secure about what we're doing, if we're feeling scarcity and fear, then that's the emotion that dribbles over to our kids. Does that make sense? So, being single is not something to be ashamed of or embarrassed about. Actually, it's something that means it's time to get your game on. To really take care and listen to yourself, to eat the good foods, to do all the things. And I'm about to go through a list of 10 things that we need to do as single folks so that we can take better care of ourselves, so that we can influence others. Because no matter who you are, whether you're male, female, or identify as whatever, Someone is watching you on how to do life. And it's really important that we show them a way to do life authentically, with love, with nurturing and compassion. I feel like the first thing that we have to have as we start the journey of being single, again, it's a transition. Maybe you've always been single and you're bound in an identity of being tough. Maybe you're new to being single like I was after being married for 20 years and you don't know who the heck you were. It becomes part of your identity, whereas before you were identified completely different. I'm a triplet mom. That's a huge part of my identity. I was a wife, a mother, a PTA member. I did the yearbook. I did all the stuff. I mean, that was my world. And it was amazing. But then when a divorce happened, my world changed. At first, I didn't handle it that well. I had a couple of rebound relationships that we shall not name. Thank you. But it's having that understanding and having, number one thing I feel like we need to have is faith. Faith to honor ourselves, to know that we're part of something greater, that we're at the very least a part of a community. There's not one of us that can do this alone. And if we believe in that which is greater, if we have an understanding that lets us rise up and know that the journey that we're on, there's a purpose for it. There's a reason. We may not understand it. We may never get to understand it. But there's a reason for it. And I feel like a lot of that is so that we can relate to other people, so that we can learn and so that we can grow and we can do more and be more. So number one, faith. Faith that there's a purpose and that you're more of something more. You're a part of something more. That's what I do. Secondly, girl, you gotta eat right. You're emotional, you're tired, you're doing this, you're doing that. You're doing the PTA thing, you're doing the work thing. You're keeping the house clean, or trying to. And then on top of that, there's this guy hitting you up in your DMs. Sometimes it's cute and flattering, sometimes it's annoying and you wish they would just stop. But the main thing is those mood swings are drastically affected by how we eat. I totally believe in a whole foods way of going at it, 80-20. You eat good 80% of the time, and then 20% of the time you go, yeah, it's all right. I have a burger and fries today. But if I have a burger and fries every day, that's what's gonna add up. Just like with anything, what we do every day makes a difference. So if we're constantly giving ourselves food that causes inflammation, that makes us tired and steals our energy, that gives us big sugar cravings and highs and lows, that affects our anxiety levels, that affects our body and how it functions, that affects our energy levels, which in turn everyone else around us sees, right? Whether it be our kids, our spouses, our friends, our coworkers. You don't want to be tired and brain foggy from eating pizza. Not that pizza's a bad thing. Trust me, I've had plenty of slices of pizza. But it's that eating the good vegetables that give you energy, that give your body the nutrition that it needs, that it requests, that it requires, so that you can do more, be more, feel more productive. If you don't take care of yourself, if you're busy eating chicken nuggets and french fries off the kids' plates, that's okay now and again. But it's not all right every day, is it? No, because you need more. And they do too. Whether or not they'll eat it, that's another question. You gotta find some balance. Number 3, find balance. Learn how to say no. You don't have to be the Pinterest pinup. We all have that Instagram account that we follow that they do everything so perfectly. Why can't I do it like them? They seem like they have their stuff all together. Do they? Not all the time. No way. I'm a coach, and in my community of coaches, we need each other. Every coach needs a coach. I have coaches because they help me remember who I am. And that's right. We got to remember who we are, what our goals are, what we do want to do. And find that balance and remember to say no whenever mama needs a timeout. She needs a freaking timeout. And when she's bombarded by all these deadlines of other people's priorities, it takes a little bit of her away every day, doesn't it? Ever feel that way? Ever feel like you're giving and giving and giving so much and getting so little in return? Ever feel like people don't appreciate you, that you're taken for granted? A lot of that has to do with boundaries. It's important. I said boundaries on that thing, but with your time. You gotta have a schedule. You gotta say no. You gotta say yes to the things that make you feel good, and say no to the things that you go, I don't want to do that. And not because you don't think you can, but because you just don't want to do it. That's okay. You don't have to want to do everything that someone asks you to do. You do not. You have to give yourself permission to say no. I don't have time for that. I have really big projects going on. I have my kids to consider right now. I'm working on career plans. That also includes with dating, on when to say no. Just because someone asks you out doesn't mean you gotta go. Trust me, I'm a long way from figuring out this dating thing. A long way. But I know when to say no. I didn't for a while. And figured out that I needed to say yes to the things that made me feel stronger, that made me feel more connected, that made me want to do more of that thing. If that makes sense. Number 4, set goals. Maybe you're fine where you're at right now. Everything looks rosy, everything's great. But where do you want to be in 5 years or 10 years? Where do you want to be next year? Where do you want to be at the end of this year? Heck, 3 months from now. It doesn't have to be grand and huge, but it needs to be a realistic goal. Something that you want. The outcome is desirable to you. It keeps you up at night. It keeps you excited. You wake up with a purpose. That's not taking time away from your kids. That's showing your kids that your mom is on fire. She's got stuff to do. And they get to be a part of it. They get to see it. They get to see you living up to your goals. Smashing them. Which in turn, what will that do for them? Yeah. It's going to teach them to reach for their goals too. Next. And this is one of the hardest questions ever. Know what you want. And know how you want to show up. Whenever I'm working with my clients, one of the biggest questions that I ask is 3 things. 3 words that describe how you want, or that you feel like are your strongest characteristics. Okay, that's the thing with going live. Okay, so if you've got a pen and a paper right now, and you're listening to this, you, because if you're here, it means that you want to do better. Write down 3 qualities about you that even you love. 3 qualities about you that make you feel good about yourself, that make you feel stronger, that when you're like going, well, I might not be able to do this, but I can do that. Write them down. And then I want you to write down 3 more words. I want you to write down the 3 words that identify how you want to show up. You're going into this business meeting. How do you want to show up? Do you want to show up like you don't know what the hell you're doing? Or do you want to show up like you own that space? Damn right you do. You want to show up in a way that makes you feel stronger, that makes you feel capable, that makes you feel like you're a part of something bigger, and that allows you to be you. One of my words, if you know me, is confident. I'm a confidence coach as well. All about not just walking into a room with your head high and your shoulders back, but body confidence and loving yourself and being secure with who you are and trusting yourself to be authentic enough to be you. Whenever you know these 6 words, these words that describe who you are and how you want to show up, and you're nervous about going into a situation, you have this phone call with a friend and you're like going, what's going on? I haven't talked to her forever. What's wrong? The school calls. I know as a mom, that always panics me. Okay, what's going on here? What are they calling to tell me? And just taking that moment to recognize who you want to be in that conversation, it alleviates a lot of the anxiety that could come from it. If you hadn't thought about it and didn't plan on it, you might show up a little more insecure, a little less confident, and full of doubts. And whenever we feel that way, we often revert to this insecurity spin, right? Something happens. We've already, and this is one of my favorite lines, play film. We can run through our heads every bad situation that can possibly freaking happen, right? So just roll that film. Well, if you think that that film is going to turn into reality, guess what? It does. Have you ever gotten up and said, well, today's gonna suck? It sucks. If you show up for a race and you're like, there's no way I'm gonna win, you're right. There's no way you're gonna win. It matters on how you show up. If you show up going with compassion, if you show up with charity, if you show up with whatever it is that's one of those 6 qualities that you want to push forward, that encompass you. It's part of your integrity. It's part of your identity. It's so important to have that. Hey there, someone's here. So again, let me know if you're showing up, and let me know in the comments, because I have not seen anybody's faces show up on my notifications. A little annoying. So show up as who you want to be. And day by day, you actually start to become that person. If you show up tired, exhausted, frustrated, anxious, scared, lonely, that's what you're going to be. And I don't think that's where any of us want to stay. And again, you're part of this. You're in here and you're listening to me. So it's important to you. You want to do it a little bit differently. Maybe you don't know how yet, but we'll get to that later. Another thing you have to do, be quiet. Allow yourself that space where no one interferes. Trust me. My boys are 16 now. They will survive if you take a time out for you. If you go and have time with friends, they're going to survive. If you go and take a bath, they're going to survive. But we think we have to be doing it all, so much, so all the time, be on top of it, and never stop. Whenever we never stop, how does that leave us feeling? It leaves us feeling frustrated. It leaves us feeling resentful. It leaves us questioning our values. It leaves us questioning who we are, our purpose. And we just feel angry and pissed off all the time, right? So if you feel pissed off and angry all the time, that's what you're projecting to the world. If you're feeling insecure and resentful, that's what you're projecting to the world. And here's the thing, you got these kiddos watching you. Like I said, even if you don't have kiddos, you've got someone watching you. And you are teaching them, because it all dribbles down, to show up, to not show up for themselves, but to always put other people first. We need that quiet time. Time to meditate, time to reflect, time to really just talk to ourselves and work out those goals that we talked about earlier. To work out what we want to say yes to, what we're okay saying no to. That peace and quiet, I mean, you can ask my kids. I spend not 90, they always know where to find me. I spend a lot of time on my porch. I just like it out there. It feels good. I like being in the air. I like the sounds of the neighborhood, the birds, the dogs. There's always dogs. It makes me feel at peace. It doesn't keep me away from being part of the activity that's in here. That's a blessing. And when they were little, yes, I wasn't away from them 5 seconds. So whenever I was out there on the back porch, it's like, let's show them why I like it here. Look at that flower. Ooh, can you find me a bug? I mean, make every day an adventure, but still keep your quiet. There's nothing better than having a calmness and an understanding that comes with compassion and confidence. Confidence is a side effect of knowing who you are. You can't know who you are if you don't ever take time to check in with yourself and be quiet. Hey, okay, so my friend Heather's on here. She knows about taking time to be quiet. She teaches yoga. Amazing. I always follow her on her Facebook and Instagram. So that peace that comes from just being in that space with just you, it's very valuable. Makes you more aware of your power. And if you're not aware of that power, then you can't nourish it. You can't help it grow. I'm laughing at the next one because it's laughter. You've got to make time for laughter. It has to be fun. Do not get so serious all the time. I see people with we've all heard of resting bitch face, right? But like, it's just there. Everything about them is sad and miserable and nothing's good. You tell them, isn't it a beautiful day? They're like, well, it's going to snow tomorrow. Or, hey, did you go outside today? There's bugs. We all know that person. Finding some joy and some laughter in each day is imperative. Endorphins are released when you smile. Quick trick. Don't think you can smile. You're feeling kind of crappy. Put a pen in your mouth. That forces you to have that smile. One of my many little tricks. Whenever you do this, the same endorphins are released as they are whenever you're really smiling, if you feel it. And next thing you know, you're feeling it. You're feeling that need to smile. You're having that joy. And then get silly and go laugh. Laugh at yourself. Don't worry about what other people think, because you know what? They're not worrying about maybe they are worrying about what you think. But really, most of us are worried about ourselves. I'm at the grocery store. I'm thinking about my list. This, and the other. Song comes on, I might just dance in those aisles. I figure at least I gave someone else something to talk about. Whether they took it friendly or whether they took it as this weird old lady in the grocery store dancing. That's up to them. I've got no way to know what they think, no way to know what they feel. All I'm in charge of is knowing how I feel. And taking that seriously to how do you want to feel? Do you want to feel joy? Do you want to feel connected? Do you want to have a community? Do you want to feel possible? Laugh. Laugh. Laugh whenever you want to cry. I did a lot of that when the kids were little. I think it's what got me through it. I had 3 babies from the NICU crying, all pooping, peeing, hungry, needing, wanting, all at the same time. And I'm only one mama. There's only so much of it I can do. So there's times where I just had to give in and start laughing whenever I wanted to cry. And you know what happened? My babies quit crying. They quit screaming. They heard that laughter. And next thing I knew, they were smiling and they were patient and they were willing to wait. Because how we feel, what we're doing, our emotions, again, they dribble onto everyone around you. So whenever you're feeling anxious, that anxiety spreads. Whenever you're feeling joy, that joy spreads. Which do you want to spread? That's the question here, right? Second one is having a passion. Passion. A purpose. It could be, you could be passionate about singing, you could be passionate about writing, you could be passionate about making sure that you've got all your little things in your filing cabinet perfectly right. You could be passionate about painting. You could be passionate about so many things out there that aren't your kids. Yes, do have passion about your children, but recognize their time here is fleeting. It seems like yesterday that my babies were in the NICU. Today they're 16. They're driving. They think I'm an idiot. I mean, let's be honest. I don't know. They kind of act like they don't think I'm an idiot more often than not, which makes me feel good, but we know how it gets when they get older. So value every bit of your passions. Yes, give them the appreciation, the love, and the attention that they need. But you want to show them a person that's not just a mom or a single dad, or maybe you don't even have kids, but other people that are looking at you, nieces, nephews. We make an impact in everything that we do. So if you're showing them that you can go all gangsta on your, trying to think of some, running. I love running. Enjoy going to the gym. Something I'm passionate about is cooking, making healthy foods, chopping them, coming up with new recipes, sharing them with my clients. That's just one of the things I'm passionate about. My main passion, if you haven't noticed, and it took me a long time to figure this out, and I think it's because of the journey that I went through, the times that my no didn't matter. I wasn't hurt. The times where I felt like I was just a wife and a mom to triplets and nothing else. I just fit a role. What if you could be something other than a role? Just changing your hats from taxi driver to mom to doctor to friend, confidant. What when you're doing something for you that fuels your passion? My passion is to help women quit saying ugly shit to themselves, to quit telling themselves that they're less than, so they can feel whole. And there's no better time to really embrace that than whenever you are single. Because like I said, being single is a time to heal and learn. We don't want to make those same mistakes. There's reasons why our past relationships did not work out. And it may have everything to do with you, but at the same time, it has everything to do with them as well. Right? The only person, again, that you are responsible for is you and your actions and your feelings. Find some passion and creativity in that. Lean in and discover what you enjoy doing. It's limitless, isn't it? And that's exciting. When you limit or put a cap on what you're capable of, you're stuck right here. But when you find a passion, it raises you higher and higher and higher until all of a sudden, yeah, you're doing it all. You're reaching those goals, you're eating the healthy foods, you're understanding how you want to show up. You're being the example that you want to be. And it all comes from passion. Another thing you have to do, this is number 9, I think we're at 9, I lost count, is surround yourself with friends. I'm as guilty as anyone else. I wait till the last minute. I hope someone's going to invite me. Whenever we're single, a lot of times it's because divorce, a breakup, something happened. And whenever we go through that, we're not sure who wants to hear from us. We get thoughts in our head of going, oh, they're my ex's friend. They're this, they're that, they're not. You don't know. What you do need to look for in the people that you reach out to hang out in is that they're people that you actually want to be with. Not folks that you're settling to hang out with because there's no one else. But friends with similar wants, similar needs, similar desires, similar core. That you don't have to agree on everything, because if we all agree, that'd be a very boring place. But they have values and a measuring stick that you can appreciate. Measuring stick. I gotta remember to come back to that in a sec. That's something I hadn't thought about. So, measuring stick makes a difference. Lastly, gratitude. Gratitude for where you've been. The pain, the obstacles, the times you fell down, the times you cried and cried, the times you got hurt, the times you doubted yourself, the times you didn't do something because you didn't think that you could. Be grateful for those times, because they got you to where you are now. And you are in the right place, exactly the right place that you're supposed to be right now. And it's up to you on where you go to move forward. So be grateful. Be grateful for having those struggles. Be grateful for learning through some pain. Be grateful because it's made you who you are. And you may not believe this, but you're amazing. You've got skills that nobody else has. You can do things that nobody I know knows how to do. You have thoughts that no one else thinks about. You look at things from a different perspective that is uniquely 100% yours. And that's reaching back into the faith. Having faith that you're here for a reason. It's your purpose to sit around and feel bad about yourself and be over anxious and tired and exhausted and stressed out and yelling at your kids and going through the McDonald's drive-up? No, it is not. It is not. I may not know what your purpose is, but I know that's not it. You've got something bigger in you. Something grander. Take a moment and just think about what that could be. Think about what that next step on the road, what it looks like. How's that make you feel? Probably scared, maybe excited. Our brain fights us on change. That's why changing habits is so hard. That's why being newly single is so hard, even if it was a toxic relationship to start with. We get used to what we do every day. Our brain expects that. Our body expects that. It just kind of goes into autopilot. Like, have you ever, two examples. Do you ever order a burger without fries? They always ask you if you have fries like that, and you're like, yeah, heck, why not? Or have you ever been on a drive, and all of a sudden you're home, and you're like going, I just kind of like got here on autopilot. We know what we do every day, and it becomes what we do every day. So, in working with me and what that looks like, we take a look at those things that you do every day that aren't serving you anymore. Because you don't want to go back to those past mistakes. We're on a new journey. We're on a new road, a new path. We're going to cross the bridge. Let's slow down a sec. I'm not seeing a timer on here either, nor do I wear a watch, so my phone's my watch. I have no idea how long I've talked. Okay, I see a clock. Going on about 45 minutes here, so I'm going to keep it to just at an hour. Attention span, right? I'm the same way. If you've stuck with me this long, keep sticking with me. Whenever you're working with me, we find little ways to interrupt that record, kind of like scratching the needle across. It creates a pause and gives you a moment to go, am I making these decisions? Am I saying yes to this? Am I doing this project because it's something I want to do? Am I picking this meal because it fuels me and makes me feel good about myself? Or am I just, did I just decide not to care today? Or is it just too hard? Once you realize how good it feels to do the right thing, and I'm not saying there's never any bad things, because this girl's far from perfect. But once you understand how good it feels to treat yourself right, once you understand how to interrupt that little switch so that you don't just keep getting the fries with the burger. Whenever you tell yourself that you are a healthy eater, whenever you tell yourself, I am lovable, when you tell yourself, I am enough, and you repeat that, that gets you closer. It gets you closer to where you want to be. It gets you a step onto that bridge where you can create action, meaningful action, connected with your passion, connected with your goals, connected with your self-talk, your quiet time, your balance, your diet. It all comes together, and it's all for you. I want you to give yourself permission to be your most authentic self. Because who were you in those other relationships whenever you weren't single? Were you truly your authentic self, or were you trying to be a version that you thought they wanted you to be? Let that sit there for a second. Not everyone did that, but I know I did. I'll fess up to it. I also found a way to quit doing it. And that was to just love me. If you want to focus on the lemons and the sour things in life, you're never going to appreciate the lemonade. You gotta add that sweetness to it and make it fabulous. Sorry, I'm sitting on that for a second because it makes me all giddy. All right, so the biggest thing is we don't want to make the same mistakes. We want to love ourselves. We want to care for ourselves. But what is it about dating and those other deals? What are we attracting? And since we're on the subject of dating and being single, what are you attracting? Maybe nothing. Maybe jerks. Maybe a bunch of crazy people that you're like, oh my God, why in the world do they think I would be attracted to them? But they have those same things. Whenever you are looking for someone and you're insecure, you're scared, you don't think you're enough, you think you're unlovable, you think you're too much, all those thoughts that bombard us and that we speak to ourselves, those labels, I'm not worthy, no one can ever love me, I have to be doing all this and that, I don't have time. Damn right, you don't have time. You're not making the time. And you're going to attract people that have those same qualities, those same insecurities, those same time restraints, those same emotional outages. We're just going to keep this in a box right here so no one hurts us again. And that's okay for a while because we have to work on creating our boundaries. I'll get to number 11 there. Whenever you have this little space in you and you nurture it and you make it feel good, it makes it easier to set boundaries. It makes it easier for you to again, say no when you want to say no. To not attract the person that you don't want to be attracted to. They may still come at you for a little while and you're like going, why? I thought I worked on that. And that's where working with a coach really helps out because we can figure out what it is that you're feeling. Heal that inner child. Figure out what it is that makes you feel loved. Figure out how it is you best show love. But not only are we able to just keep this nice and safe, but we're able to give it to others. Important thing here, we also have to be able to receive. Giving is a whole lot easier than receiving. And once you learn how to receive your own love and appreciation, receive what it means to be single, what it means to have this time for yourself, what it means to know what you want and show up for it. Once you know that, getting to your goal, crossing that bridge, discovering the healthy relationship becomes a whole lot easier. Like I said, I'm not going to get on that because I'm still just broaching that healthy dating stage, and it's a little bit scary, but it's also something I wouldn't want to keep myself from doing because I believe that myself, just like I believe you, deserve to be loved. And maybe it won't be romantic, but we all deserve to be loved. And we all deserve to love someone else. So if you want to know more about what it's like to work with me, it's a lot like this, except for I get to see you. You don't just have to see me talking. And I get to really listen to you. We do Zoom calls. And we talk about what's important. We talk about what's going well. We talk about how to shift what's not going well and turn it around. Think about it a different way. I was going to mention measuring stick. And we get to show some appreciation for our own measuring sticks. When I say measure, we've all had that time when you go, how could someone do that? Right? If you can't understand how they did that, it's because it's against your values. It's not your measuring stick. You can't possibly comprehend that. We're not all meant to be the same, again, but we have to remember not to expect others to believe everything exactly the way I do, or we do. We can't expect them to measure their values the same that we measure ours. We're going to run into conflict. We're going to run into some stuff out there in the world that's not exactly the way that we planned it. And that's okay. But we're going to lead each day with anticipation. I had a really lovely meditation on my Zoom that I had recorded and everything was great. It's in this stinking computer that will not turn on. Things don't always turn out the way you want. But whenever you can find the joy in showing up and being with the people that you want to be with, it turns out better than you could have ever expected. Think about working with me and changing the way that you think about being single. Not just the way you think about being single, but the way you think about yourself, about your impact, about who's watching you, about what they're thinking about you, about da-da-da-da-da-da-da, about what it takes to eat healthy. It's not that hard. You just have to shift the way you think about it. Just like being single is not a time to be lonely. It's just a time to spend some time with yourself alone and make some lemonade, right? Peace out. Quick. Comment below, and I want to send you a free gift for staying in here with me. I'll message you, or send me a DM or a message with your email. I want to send you a list of 100 affirmations and a pre-recorded meditation on those affirmations. It's just for you. You'll see it differently than I see it. Love your feedback. Let me know what you think. And Jena says it's good to be single. Jena says it's okay to be confident in being yourself. Jena says, aw, thank you, Carol. Jena says, just be you, authentically you. No matter what, no matter who's watching. Because whenever you're authentically you, that's where the smiles come. That's where the purpose comes. And smashing the goals. Love you, Heather. Love you all. Bye.